All right, Larissa, I am so glad you're here. What committee are you the co-chair of? Or chair?
Political affairs.
Political affairs. Now, kind of give us an idea of what political affairs does.
Political affairs is giving our membership monthly updates on where we are within the legislature, hot topics going on within the Valley. We have already covered solar and septic, and this month we have short-term rentals.
I thought, going back for just a second, the septic conversation was so cool. And people say, well, why would that be cool? Because there's almost 15,000 families affected by it. So I think when you guys went into it, and because of your energy, we're putting some stuff on the website to make sure that all our members know everything if they missed your meeting. And what days are your meetings? Let's start with that.
They're Thursdays. I want to say it's the third Thursday of every month.
Third Thursday of every month.
From 8:30 to 10.
8:30 to 10. And so you guys you started with septic, which was amazing because it was very timely.
Yes.
And then you went to the next subject, which was what?
It was solar. And we had somebody come from NV Energy. And personally, one of the cool things that I learned is that they'll do a free energy assessment of your house.
Oh, you can't beat that.
Yeah. So I have a fridge plugged in the garage, and they said you don't realize how much energy
it sucks a lot of energy. I didn't realize it either. I had one too, and there was nothing in it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, I got to pull the power. And sorry, I felt bad. I like talking to the refrigerator, like, I'm sorry, I've got to pull your power.
You've been here for so long.
You've been here so long. I hope you don't get stinky. So I put what they call baking soda in there, make sure it didn't get stinky. So this month is going to be really interesting to me. So when you talked about solar, I think it's really interesting too, because you guys went into the detail of leases versus ownership and all the things we need to know as practitioners to protect our sellers. So we're taking the listing, we can ask better questions. So I think you guys are right on top of everything on that. So your newest one is going to be on short-term rentals. And kind of give me an oversight of what you'd like to see come out of that.
So we're going to be having representatives from Henderson, North Las Vegas, and Las Vegas. And I think right now the biggest thing is talking about, for agents when clients are coming. Actually, just the other day we had somebody call, hey, they're from out of state. They're hearing that short-term rentals is a great thing, getting into it. But they don't realize the behind the scenes and everything and the laws and
the rules.
Correct. And so for you to educate yourself and represent these clients to make sure that they're not putting themselves in a position where they're going to be fined or it's going to cause them a lot of money and they might come back on you.
Or they might not be able to do it.
Correct.
I think it was a god-awful number of properties. I think in Clark County it was almost 7,000 properties. They took their permit away from them to be able to do short-term rentals. So let's talk about, because have you ever done a short-term rental when you traveled or anything?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you do it?
I like the convenience of having a kitchen.
Right.
You're saving money on eating out, especially if you're traveling with your family.
Sure.
And it just seemed more accessible. You're not dealing with, checking in and the hotel and other people.
It's kind of easy peasy too, isn't it?
Yeah. And cost.
Yeah. The cost is extremely reasonable. And so as we look at this year and next year, so this year we have the F1 coming in. Yes. And can you imagine how expensive it's going to get room-wise for people to get rooms? I'm sure there's hardly any rooms left. So these type of rentals would be really advantageous for somebody wanting to come in and watch the race. Would you agree?
Definitely.
So, I know in Lake Tahoe, there's a huge amount of properties. Somebody spends $4 or $5 million on a property, they'd like to get some return on their investment. I think that's what short-term rentals really is somebody buys it knowing they're not going to live in it, or they're going to rent it periodically, and they're going to use it when their family wants to go on vacation, or they diversify it with other family members, and maybe somebody takes 2 weeks, another 2 weeks, but in between that time, they want to make some money on it.
Right.
I think that it's a very interesting model, but very scary for us as real estate agents, because you constantly have a seller call us sometimes and say, I've got this business, but we're really not, we don't have a license to sell businesses. We have a license to sell real estate.
Right.
And those businesses are unique unto themselves. Would you agree?
Yes.
So when you've gone out of town and rented those, Was it easy to do it? Did you go through a third-party company, or how did you do it?
Yeah, everything was done online through an app.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I could say Airbnb, VRBO.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You can say all of them.
You do it on your phone, and then
Boom, you got a place.
Yep, day before they tell you, here's the code, here's what you do.
Yeah.
Love it.
A friend of mine owned a cabin, nice house in a ski resort called Dillon, Colorado, just down from Breckenridge and all these others. A nice place, beautiful. You know, you had like one room that had like 8. It was a gigantic room that had 8 bunk beds, so it slept a whole bunch of people. And I'll never forget that. You know, you'd always have a bottle of wine there, person that cleaned the house that would go and clean the linen and everything. So it's just like being home. All that stuff is done for you. You walk in and you're done. So we're going to have 3 different cities come in, because at a certain point in the 2021 legislature, they wanted cities to come up with some rules. My understanding, because I'm not an expert, my understanding is the city that had the most interesting updated information on how it is was Henderson. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not. So that's a wonderful thing of being a part of this committee, is I'm learning stuff every month and every time. And so I'm really excited for this.
So my understanding is Henderson's right on top of it. They've got all the rules, they've got all the regulations, and, you know, it's one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. So, you know, it's really kind of forward thinking. And then you have the city of North Las Vegas is getting engaged, and then you have Las Vegas. And I don't know, did we get anybody from Clark County that wanted to come and talk about it? Or?
We did not.
We did not. So I think that when I look at, for you as members, and Larissa, it's, if you don't know and you need to know, then you need to come.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You know,
I love that.
Yeah, you don't get to you don't get to say, hey, wait a second. You know, I wish I would have shown up so I could have learned something. So one of the benefits of our open committees and your open committee, you can get 100 people, 125 people sometimes. I know on your septic, I think you had 125, 130 people there.
Yeah.
So you had a huge amount of people. So it's in classroom A normally. And so what you do is you come in, you sign in so that we know you're in the building, and you go ahead and go to this, and you'll get everything you ever want to know about short-term rentals. And there's a lot you want to know. So come on the 3rd Thursday, and we'll confirm that, and we'll make sure that we put the date there when the podcast goes out. So 3rd Thursday, you show up, no cost, nothing. You get all the information. And that way, when the client says to you, well, I'd really like to buy something and turn it into an Airbnb, you can say, hey, wait a second, here's what you have to do. Here's all the rules. Here's, if you're going to buy in Henderson, here's where you have to go. If you're going to buy in Las Vegas, or if you're going to buy in North Las Vegas, these are the places you can get to call. So all the research you guys did was so cool, and I appreciate you doing it.
Thank you so much.
So this is not your first podcast, is it?
This is my first.
Oh my God, you're doing so well.
Thank you.
Oh my God, we're having so much fun.
Yes, that's all Lee said is, hey, we're just going to have fun.
So explain to everybody about you getting, and this is from, we didn't talk about this before, so I'm kind of catching you by surprise. What made you want to get on a committee and then later chair a committee and hopefully vice chair of the committee and then chair a committee someday? What made you volunteer at that level?
So it was very important to me to get to know kind of LVR and like what I call the man behind the curtain. Because I'm generational. My parents started in real estate, and now I've started in real estate and property management, and that they didn't get involved.
So you're second or third generation?
I'm second.
Really? Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they didn't get involved, and you hear these little things, and I thought, okay, this is going to be kind of my pathway that I'm going to pave. And so I got on with YPN, which is a wonderful committee to get started on, and then, you know, ventured out into a bunch of other ones.
Right.
And being a property manager, political affairs, when I got the opportunity to be a part of the committee.
It's natural.
Yes. And so that's very important to me, to kind of also with RPAC and put my money where my mouth is.
Amen.
You know, because I was tired of complaining about things.
Stop for that for just a second, because I want people to understand what you just said. RPAC means you're a donor and probably at a major level, and you donate because you don't want politics to get away.
Correct.
So it's either money or people, and money and people help. And we're able to be one of the strongest in the state and being able to let people understand that we're protecting private property rights.
Definitely.
I don't think anybody else protects private property rights, right?
Not like we do.
Not like we do. We're good at it.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that was great. No, thank you for explaining that. And so it's just been a wonderful experience to be getting involved on. And now on the state level, I'm able to serve on the property management committee.
Sweet.
I've gone through the local leadership and the state leadership. And so it's just been a really cool
me too.
journey.
Me too. I used to be the dean of the state leadership, and I don't think people understand that the pathway to get where you're at right now was not easy. When you did the local, it was 6 weeks. That's a big commitment every Friday. Then when you go to the state, it's 4 times or 5. Is it 4 or 5 times a year?
I think it was 5.
5 times.
And traveling.
Yeah, that you go up north or they come down south here, and you learn what leaders are all about.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things we learned back then, I learned, is that when you do this from the heart, and you're a servant leader. And I think people misunderstand what that means. That means that you care more about others than you care about yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, I love that.
Me too. And it always, all my involvement in anything I've ever done is all because I had a passion for what I did. So it's really good that you have a passion for politics. You have a passion and you're taking it up north. And we're taking advantage, thank goodness, of your skill sets now because of your leadership skills, and love that you're involved. And I think we're probably going to be done with this section, which will probably make you extremely happy. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So anything else, look into the camera and tell them why you believe they have to be at your political affairs committee meeting.
Free donuts. No, just kidding. We will have donuts.
That is priceless right there. I'm going to make it because of free donuts.
Yes, that's how I get you. I think, like I said before, it's to be, how many realtors do we have? And we're getting a beautiful turnout of hundreds, but to be that step up and to be educated for yourself and for your clients and to be able to serve, our community with this knowledge. Right. And so if you haven't been before, please come. You don't have to be a member to be there. Again, it's going to be Thursday, April 13th from 8:30 to 10. And I think that we're going to have a wonderful panel. We already have some questions. If you have questions that you'd like, you can email them over to us. And stay tuned for more for the rest of the year.
Absolutely. And you're, and is that also simulcast? Can you get on?
Oh, yes. For Zoom.
For Zoom.
Yes. So if you're unable to make it in person, then you're going to log on to your LVR portal under committees. And then when you go to political affairs, there'll be a Zoom registration. You
can tell how old I am because you said simulcast.
Yeah, you said that. I had to think about it.
You're like, oh, what's he talking about? Oh, Zoom, yeah. So, and I think that's a great way. Again, if you're on that line, they don't have extra staff there to see that you might be asking a question or something else. That's why it's important for you to physically go. Yeah. But you can hear it and you can see it. And that's probably the most important thing that I would think. You probably have another 30, 40 people on that.
Yeah, we understand life happens, so we still want you to have the opportunity to join if you can't. But being in person is just a different level.
Different level. Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure meeting you again. And thank you for watching this podcast. We do more with them. We're going to be doing more with committees. I'm just glad we were able to do it. So please come to this because it's going to be a game changer for you, especially with all the things that are going on with the city. Over 600 events planned in 2023 alone. There's going to be a lot of people that want a place to live for that week. So thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet.